Hey guys, today I'm going to talk to you about two issues that are currently facing educators. The problem with social networking with students and educators cheating on tests when it comes to standardized assessment. So my group and I, our objectives were we're going to discuss the ethical issues that educators are facing, to identify the best practices to combat cheating, to discuss the use of social media by teachers to communicate with students, to analyze the pros and cons of social media, and then finally identifying some strategies for using social media with students. So the first thing that I'd like to talk to you about is just the cheating on the state assessment. And this quote from one of the articles that we read is that zero tolerance means just that. If we can't honestly say that every student has the same testing environment, we don't have a level playing field. So across the country, and as well as in the state of Alabama, we want every school to have the same conditions for testing. And sometimes that's a lot of pressure on teachers and especially on administrators to make sure that things go smoothly. Well, some of the reasons why then educators cheat that I know that we've all heard get to these. Sometimes we've all been in meetings for standardized testing, and we've had the booklets of rules of things you can and can't do. In a lot of school systems, educators and administrators change from maybe elementary to secondary or middle levels, and sometimes the rules on these tests may change from one test to another, from one year to another. And so sometimes, according to this quote, because of budget cuts, numerous school administrators have been reassigned to new positions at different grade levels, moving from elementary school assistant principal to secondary dean, for example, which means having to get up to speed quickly on a complex new set of test security expectations. So sometimes when the cheating occurs, it may not be voluntary, it may not be purposeful. It may just be that all these rules are changing, and especially from level to level. Well, one of the reasons that teachers feel the need to cheat is going to be that student test scores are taking on new weight in everything from teacher evaluations to federal education grant requirements. So if you give a test and there's incentive to have your students do well, maybe you either maybe are seen as a good teacher or a bad teacher based on standardized test assessments, then you may be more likely to try to bend the rules to get that done. Well, some statistics that we have found in our research was that between 1 and 3% of teachers cross the lines between acceptable ways of boosting scores and actual cheating. So that's not a very large percentage of the population, but it does go on according to our research. Well, some of the things you can do then, with all the pressure for students to do well on standardized testing, for funding, for teacher evaluations, some of the things that you can do to stop that from going on is to devise better policies that allow for identification of suspicious results. So if something looks suspicious, then have a way to identify those results and make sure that it doesn't happen again, and that you can create a culture of integrity in your school. Another thing you can do is reduce test tampering opportunities. So, lock those tests up, make sure that you don't get a hold of them before or after the test happens. Another one is to reduce incentives. As teachers, again, those incentives to have your students do well put a lot of pressure on some educators to make sure that they do well, and sometimes that crosses the line. And then lastly, provide better training for teachers and administrators. Again, that goes back to sometimes it may not be a purposeful cheat on a test, but sometimes it may just be out of ignorance or not knowing what to expect from that test. So again, some more ways you can stop that. Hire quality people, communicate what is expected of personnel, proper information on school and board policies, advise teachers, administrators to do for their consequences, and then lastly, just do your job. As long as people just do their job and do it with integrity, then you don't have to worry about having any problems. Well, the second issue, again, that's a hot topic, is going to be social networking between teachers and students. And we just started with a definition of what social networking is. Social networking is an online community of people with common interests that use websites or other technologies to communicate, share ideas, share information, give resources, or etc. And some of the most popular ones that are around today, you've got Facebook, MySpace, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. These websites that students and teachers are communicating through. Some statistics through the social networking aspect. 20% of teachers that are disciplined for inappropriate sexual behavior use the internet for communication and displaying affection to students. 4.5 million students are likely the targets of some form of sexual misconduct, ranging from a joke to sexual intercourse from school employees at some time during their school years. So these social networking sites sometimes increase that opportunity for these teachers to do something unethical with students. So some of the things, again, that have happened that we came up with through research, things like that an educator shall not use professional relationships with students for private advantage. Faculty shouldn't friend, follow, or engage with students on social media directly. Friending students can lead to a breakdown of the teacher-student relationship, opening up the possibility of inappropriate communication and also just favoritism in the classroom. It doesn't have to be something illegal for it to be unethical and cause favoritism in the classroom. But that doesn't mean social networking is always bad. Sometimes it can be a good thing. And the reason that it could be a good thing is that 96% of high school students have social networking technology. That's something that everybody has. And so it would be in our benefit if we could take advantage of that opportunity. 50% of students talk about school on social networking sites each day. So if we could find some way of staying ethical while using social networking to increase participation in the classroom, then it could be to our benefit. Also, things are changing. The way we teach is changing. One of the quotes we found was, if we teach today the way we were taught yesterday, we aren't preparing students for today or tomorrow. So sometimes maybe we can find a way to incorporate that in an ethical way to make sure that we can get that done. So just some guidelines to using social media. There are pros to it, there are cons to it, but first, just use common sense. Secondly, use ethical behavior. Third, weigh potential advantages and disadvantages. And fourth, take precautions. If not, it can lead to student safety, privacy, and psychological well-being at risk, and it could risk of ruining the school reputation and also those legal liabilities that we hear about all the time. So again, thank you for listening to me today. I would love to hear your ideas on social networking and cheating on standardized tests. So if you would stick around for a minute, and again, thank you for being here.